Welcome back to the chaos that is sorting out my closet. Today we are doing coats, long coats, anoraks and that kind of thing. It is the 2nd of August. It is the height of the British summer, so it's absolutely peeing it down with rain outside, so I was worried about doing this at this time of year, but it's actually going to be quite nice to be quite warm. I have on one of the new cardigans that Mum's just knit for me. I will list it all in the description down below. First up, we're going to put on my favourite coat. My Charm Patterns Princess Coat by Gertie, and I absolutely love this thing. I have added a storm flap at the back because I really wanted it to look like this picture that I found on Instagram, and I've been obsessed with that picture for ages. I just used the back panel and modified it, the back stay panel, and modified it to be a storm flap. I'm really glad that I added that. It's brushed cotton twill from fabric.com, which I am so sad that they don't exist anymore because I love this fabric and this was the only place that I'd found it. I've lined it with a poly satin from Lady McCalls. It's Shanghai Bouquet, and I love this thing. It's surprisingly warm and surprisingly kind of all year round, because I wear this in the winter and then I would totally also wear this at this time of year in this weather. So happy with how this one turned out. This is definitely staying. Chiana might join you in the cupboard in a second. It is actually quite warm and I'm going to take this jumper off. I'm glad that you saw it, but I'm not going to overheat during this try on session. I know there's probably 2 that are going to go, but I'm not sure about the rest of them. Next up, my one and only vintage piece. Does it have pockets? No, it does not. Technically this does not fit right. It's double-breasted, and I mean, I could do it up. Ooh, I can just do it up, but it is very snug. But that's okay, because as we know, I'm working on corsets this year and evening gowns, and this is obviously an evening coat. I bought this from Posh Girl Vintage and I paid for it on layaway over 4 years because I think it was £800, $800, and then another $200 to have it insured and shipped to the UK. So this was one of the most expensive things I have ever bought myself, and it is absolutely glorious. It is vintage. It is from the mid 1950s. I'm so glad that I have this. I'm so glad that I can get this done up as far as I can now. I did used to wear this, not frequently because I was always terrified of it getting ruined, but I love this and it's staying. This is my most recent make, the Vogue 9044 I think it is. Mum and I made this at the beginning of the year. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's way too big for my preference. Now, when I did the jacket video, lots of people were telling me that the things that I was saying were too big for me weren't. That's your opinion, which you're totally entitled to, but I have to wear these clothes and I know how I wear these clothes. I've worn this once and it's too big for me in the way that I want these sorts of things to fit. But I do think this is going to fit my sister-in-law, so my mum is going up to see her this weekend and she's going to take the coat with her because I think it will fit Big Bird. I think Big Bird will wear it, and I mean, it is a gorgeous coat. I would like to make this again. I just want to make it so that it fits me. Now, when I started making this, I hadn't gone back onto keto properly and like very kind of strictly. When I started making this, we made muslins, tried it on, it fit well for the type of fit that I liked. Finished making the coat. That took about 2 weeks. I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks, which was not expected, and by the time I'd finished it, it was just too big for me, and I haven't put that weight back on. I've actually lost more since then. Whilst I love this coat and will make this pattern again because it is an awesome pattern, I very much like the neckline, I like the pockets. I know I won't wear this one. I've worn it once. The other thing as well is it's black, and I don't love black. I like the deep V so I can have like a pop of colour, so I could put like a colourful scarf in there, but I just don't reach for black, and I am phasing it out of my wardrobe completely. The only black that I'm keeping are patterned blacks, so my sister-in-law's gonna love this. She will wear it, so it deserves to go to a home that will enjoy it. So this one is going. This one, however, if I can do it up, it's definitely staying. I love this. This is one of my favoritist makes ever. It's probably not very good English, but it is. I love this thing. I have lined it with a cotton silk from Spoonflower in the abalone print, and I've got multiple rainbow coloured bias binding as a flat trim between the facing and the lining, and then the fabric itself was from Oya Textiles on the Goldhawk Road. I think it's a polyester, I don't think it's wool, or if it has got any wool in it, it's a wool blend, but I don't care. It was so pretty. I love this thing. I get very hot in this thing though, that's the trouble. It's also interlined with cotton flannel. It's a very warm coat, so it really does have to be cold outside, like properly cold, to actually get to wear this, but I love it and it's staying, and I'm not ruling out making more of these princess coats because they are epic and I love them if I can get in and out of them. This is the Victory Patterns Ulysses trench coat and I absolutely love it. This was an incredibly kind gift from the very lovely Nancy. She sent me the kit. They released a kit in this colour in the navy when they released the pattern. It's absolutely gorgeous and I love it. It's got a really interesting storm flap detail that kind of works in with the belt loops, has pockets with flaps on them. I think this is amazing. I don't wear it very often because this fabric creases the second that you look at it, which is really frustrating. I've currently got it tied to the belt at the back because that's generally how I wear it, but you can obviously also tie it with the belt at the front, and it has like really lovely waterfall detail. I love this thing. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I did deviate from the pattern a little bit by using the fabric they sent for bias binding as the lining for both the storm flap, which is what it was intended for, and then fully lining the sleeves because this is an unlined jacket, and then I used my own bias binding to finish off all the insides. It looks beautiful. The only thing I have got to do to this one is add in a label that Nancy sent me, one of her like handmade by her labels, because I've put in a kittenish behaviour one, but the Nancy needs to be represented in here and I have it. I just need to do it, but this one's staying. I have two of these and they were a giant investment. I don't know if I can get into them at the moment. I haven't been able to for a while. Oh, but I can. Again, this is one that I'm not going to be able to wear anything but a t-shirt underneath of. I have this camel tan coloured one, and this is real suede, and these are absolutely gorgeous. They're so soft. I bought them in London. I bought two of them. I'll show you the one in a second. You can see the kind of colour there. I fell in love with them. In fact I did buy a black one and then I took it back and swapped it for this one because I just realised that I really wouldn't wear the black one very often. These are very fine and very thin. They're not going to be any kind of warmth, but they're kind of like a little cover up, and I can totally imagine myself like wearing these with a t-shirt underneath, belted over skinny jeans or something like that. I think it would work very well with my pirate core thing that I want to try and kind of incorporate more into my wardrobe. I love these. I'm not going to get rid of them. If I did, I wouldn't get the money back that I spent on them because they were £300 each, so they were not cheap. That was with a discount because I bought two at the same time. So love these. Love the fact that I can get in and out of them because I haven't been able to for a while. So that one's staying, as is this one. And again, exactly the same thing. It was one of those things that I used to do, that if I found something that I liked and it fit me, I bought it in every colour. Now obviously I wouldn't have done that with these because, as I say, £300 each, and there were a lot of colours, but I think I picked quite well. I like both of these colours. I think this one is maybe more of an autumn colour than it is a spring, but it is still a warm colour, and again, if I put like something bright next to my face, I think I will kind of like get away with this one. I love these and I'm so happy I can get back into them. These would look great over my scuba dresses, perhaps. They would be easy to get on and off as well because the scuba is nice and sort of like shiny on the arm, so it's easy to slip things on and off. This is one of the first coats I ever made. Kind of surprised I can get that done up, to be honest. It's a kind of like a frock coat. It was a kind of take on one of the All Saints coats I had at the time. It was black and wool and absolutely gorgeous. This is basically that coat, but with a full skirt rather than a proper tailcoat, which was what the other one had. I did have a tailored, that was like a soft, not boiled wool, but that kind of wool, and then the other one I had was a wool suiting with more military details on it, and I loved that thing as well. This I love too. This fabric is a vintage bark cloth fabric that I got from eBay. I still have some of it left, and I'm hoping I'm going to have enough left to make a pencil, either a pencil skirted dress or just a pencil skirt to wear with this, because it's lovely. Now I need to reposition the press stud at the waist, because whilst that fits, it doesn't look so good, so I just need to move the press stud over. And then I've also got on it this vintage brooch that I got in Stratford-upon-Avon with Nia. She took me to one of her favourite vintage shops there, and I found that there because it was always going to have, this coat was always meant to have press studs on it, not buttonholes, so I wanted something loud. And it's a brooch, but I have sewn it on for security because also antique. It wasn't expensive, but I don't want to lose it. We have a cape. This is a wool cape that I got from Winter Wonderland, and I do wear this a lot, which is why I wanted to try and make myself a cape like the Zimmermann one, because I thought, oh, you know, like a different variety of cape would be nice. This one I often wear with a belt like that, but then the back loose. You can belt it the whole way around, but I find that I have more range of movement if I do it that way. I love this thing. It's got an interchangeable faux fur collar. Like I said, I do wear this quite frequently. It was on sale as well because it was the last day of Winter Wonderland, and all the stall holders were trying to get rid of all the last minute things that they had left, so I got a really good deal on this, even though I can't remember exactly how much I spent on it. It was about 50% off. Okay, this one is the very first Minoro coat that I've made, and the very first kind of intricate, lots of detail coats that I made. I made it when I first moved down to the island. There is a really good sew along for this. I've heard that the instructions in the pattern aren't that great, but I honestly didn't look at the instructions once when I was sewing that up. I love this thing. I absolutely love this thing. I have put pockets in. I have got lots of stuff in this pocket. Lots of masks. I added fluff to the hood, which meant that I completely forgot that I wasn't taking off the seam allowance, so the hood's a little bit like excessive, and I do sometimes struggle to see, but this does do all the way up. And I've interlined this one with cotton flannel as well, and it's got a Brem silk lining from McCalls & Wallace in the evergreen colour, which is gorgeous. I know this is solid black, but I do wear this one an awful lot. I am keeping this one. I am so proud of this coat. Highly recommend the Minoro pattern if you follow along with the sew along. I really thought it was very good and helped me get this made, and I was very happy with the outcome. I am going to empty this pocket though. This one's staying, if you hadn't guessed. Another one I'm incredibly proud of. This is the Kelly Anorak. I love this thing. This was, again, a scary project to do. I got so far in it and then it sat for ages waiting for its press studs and things to be put on. I also kind of went off-piste a little bit, and I fully lined the pockets just because that's my preference, to fully line the crap out of everything. I also fully lined the sleeves. The coat originally comes unlined, the pattern, and then there was a lining released for it, but it was only for the uncuffed sleeves and I wanted cuffs on mine, so I've kind of made up my lining, and it's worked. It's not perfect, but it works. This was the inspiration picture for this coat. I've added floof to the collar of this one as well, which again is not something that is included in the pattern, but you totally can do, and I highly recommend. We all got to love a bit of fluff. And I have got the fabric to do sequin sleeves and then the body of the coat in a solid, and I kind of realised that that would be probably a little bit less practical than I would like, so I went with this option, and the Peeps voted for this, and I'm really glad that they did. I think this is gorgeous. I am a little bit worried about the faux leather flaking over time, but so far no problem. So this is a couple of years old and I do wear this frequently. I also think that it's a little bit unbalanced because I've lengthened the torso so that it sits on my waist, which I like, but then there's not a lot of room down here and there's a lot of pocket going on. So if I make this again, probably when I make this again, I'm going to add some pockets up here, and then I'm going to lengthen the bottom by a couple of inches just to balance it out a little bit more, again from my personal preference. I can see myself making this again. I love this coat. It's very, very warm. I have lined it, as I say, and Mum very kindly quilted this cotton silk lining I had from Spoonflower, and she's quilted it with Thinsulate. So she's like gone into all of the little cubes. So I mean, I'm over the moon with this coat. I'm so pleased with it. I really enjoyed the sewing experience. I know some people did not enjoy the experience of this one, and they have revised the pattern. Like I say, I enjoyed it. I thought it was well written. I understood what they wanted me to do, so very, very pleased with this one. This one's staying. Again, if you hadn't noticed. This one, I've been through the ringer with this one. This is the first thing that I made when I moved into the sewing room here, which I'm, you know, it was like, ooh, a momentous make, as it were. It was the very first thing that got sewn in the new sewing shed, and I love the colour. But my ex-boyfriend bought me this fabric, and it's just, when I first made it, also the arms were really, really tight to the point where it was like, ooh, that's kind of uncomfortable to wear. Since I've lost weight, it's much better now, but I don't think I'm going to keep this one. I tried it on again recently during one of the hangouts, and then was like, oh, actually no, I love it, but I don't think I do. I think it's got too many, despite being the first thing I made in the sewing shed, it's got too many negative, you ran out of time there. Yeah, it's got too many negative associations with it, so I am going to sell this one because it was expensive fabric. You know, it's really nice boiled wool from Stitch Fabrics. So there's a good £100 worth of fabric in here, just the outer. And then me being me, I of course have fully lined it with iguanas. I like it, but I don't know if I even like the kind of shape of it. I think I might actually be getting rid of the pattern as well. I just don't ever want to reach for this one. So yeah, this one's going. Another solid black coat with funky lining. This is the Deer and Doe Lausanne trench coat, which I do love, but I have given this one to Mum. I have stolen it for this video because I wanted to show you guys, but yeah, Mum owns and wears this trench coat now. It's lovely. It's really lovely. I never reached for it since I've made it. I think it fits me really well. I like the shaping on me. I probably would make it longer if I made this again, and I do intend to make this again because I've got some gems and jewels that I want to put on to a Burberry style coat, although I'm rethinking that. Maybe I'm going to do it in channel their lace ones, I don't know, but I would like to make a trench coat again, one that is not quite so voluminous as my Gertie one, the first one that you saw, but in a colour that's better for me. And this one is interlined because I couldn't not. We all know how I feel about lining things. Whilst it's really well written and has, you know, gives you great finishing instructions for interlining or just finishing this coat with bias binding, I think I'd prefer it if it had a proper lining in it. So I really like this. I will make this again, but Mum has this one. And then the last one I have to show you is another one that I rarely wear. This was my very first thrift flip. My sister-in-law gave me these curtains. This was curtains. And this was my first attempt at tailoring a coat. The only thing I didn't do was pad stitching, but everything else, like fusible tailoring, I think they call it. I love this. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's the McCalls 6800 pattern. I made it this length because I only had 2 curtains, and it's a velvet fabric, so obviously you have to respect the nap, and I was worried if I made it any longer then I wouldn't have enough fabric, and I'm regretting it because it's cute, but I want it longer. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some velvet in a complementary colour, probably a brown or a gold, like a kind of like an old gold kind of colour, and I'm going to take this apart, add on the length that I want with the old gold or the brown velvet at the bottom, and then put some trim around it, and I'm going to add the trim also to the lapels and around the cuffs to try and tie it all in. Also, I think I picked the wrong lining fabric for this, which when you see it, I mean, it's a leafy lining fabric. It's got leaves, but it's kind of This is a cool green and this is a warm green, and I don't think they look great together. So yeah, I want to pick this one apart and remake it to be the thing that I think it can be, because I think it could be amazing. So yeah, that one needs to be refashioned and is currently living down in the sewing shed to be refashioned. That's it for my coats. I've made quite a lot. I want to make more. I have the fabric to make more. There is a whole hangout where we go through all my fabrics that I want to do for coat making. This is a bit of an obsession and I just really enjoy the process, so there will definitely be more coats. But I am, oh, these are really heavy. I'm donating 3. I'm refashioning 1. I'm keeping 10, 3 of which are ready to wear and the rest are being made. So I'm pretty happy with that. What do you guys think? It's so heavy. What do you guys think? Are there any in there that I should donate? Should I keep some of the ones that I'm planning on getting rid of? Mind you, not that you're going to change my mind, and they will have already gone tomorrow, so sorry about that. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below which is your favourite and why, and what do you think of my plans for the green velvet one? I think it's going to be an awesome refashion, and I think it will end up making a coat that I love, which I'm very excited about. Only 4 more sections to go. Knitwear, tops, loungewear and dresses. Kind of dreading the dresses. That's going to be a long video. But if you have enjoyed this video, you might want to check out my other closet clear outs here.